You're listening to the Marne Report.
Hey, Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. This is Brian Lund here with another edition of the Marne Report Podcast. And this week, we got a very special guest. We have Captain Brant, the Traffic and Investigation OIC. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you here. You know, it is back to school season, so that's a very exciting time. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. But to that, you are the Traffic Investigation OIC, so we do want to talk a little bit about safety today. Can we first start off by talking about what are the key safety concerns that we have for back to school?
For any type of school transportation, you know, mornings and afternoons when school kids are present near the roadways, especially in housing areas, got to be mindful to be glancing, you know, left and right. Make sure you're not approaching a group of kids that might have one jump out in front of you. Also, when approaching school buses, we're kind of fortunate on Fort Stewart that we only have one divided highway, which is Gulick.
Right.
But we also have a lot of family members that traverse the local roadways off base. Getting into like what is a divided highway, what is not. Divided highway means that there is a actual physical barrier separating lanes.
Gotcha.
So, like if you go straight out the main gate onto West General Scrubbing Way, going into Hinesville, that highway there has a center turn lane in the middle. That's a center two-way left turn lane is what they call it.
Gotcha.
That is not actually a divided highway. A lot of people misconstrue that when they're approaching, you know, school bus with the red flashing lights and the stop signs deployed, and they're opposite, you know, coming from the opposite direction. If they have that middle lane, they are still required to stop.
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
State of Georgia recently just increased the minimum ticket amount for passing a school bus that is loading or unloading, i.e. not stopping or failing to stop for the school bus, to, I think the minimum was $1,000.
Oh, so you need to make sure you're doing that.
Right.
And so to that, how do you believe parents should better communicate to their children about these different safety things?
Well, I mean, it's like we were all taught, you know,
Right.
Look left, look right, then look left again before you start crossing the roadway at a crosswalk. Use the crosswalks. Don't just cross wherever you want to.
Right.
You also want to do the straightest path across the roadway.
Do you have any, I guess, important tips for the children to make sure we're ensuring their safety?
Listen to your crossing guards. Stay on the sidewalk until you're ready to cross. Make sure it's at a crosswalk. I know there are school crossing guards stationed at the schools to help with kids crossing. Obey their commands as far as, you know, wait for them to get traffic completely stopped before you proceed out. And just be cautious. Watch out for traffic.
Yes, sir. And so what does the collaboration or process look like for our DES team in these local schools?
Well, you're going to see a heavier presence. I know my guys are in the school zones to enforce your various moving violations, speed being one of the most important in the school zones.
Right.
But we're also looking for everything, seat belts, making sure the children are in proper restraints as far as car seats, not bouncing around the back seat, for instance.
Right. And so as we talk about, that's more transportation safety when we're talking about car seats and bouncing around in back seats. So what does that look like for bus safety as well?
Well, the bus safety, I mean, the kids need to stay in their seats. I'm not aware as far as the school buses on post if they assign seats.
Right.
I know a lot of school districts do assign seats, but the kids need to be staying in their seats. They need to keep their volume as far as they're talking and everything to a low tone, kind of like we're talking now versus screaming. That way the bus drivers can concentrate on driving. People
are looking for resources, I guess. How do they stay in the know about the most up-to-date safety tips?
You can contact the fire department or any of Fort Stewart DES.
Yes, sir. And so as we approach this, how has this process been for DES getting ready for back to school?
It's done pretty good. Plans don't really change that often from year to year.
Right.
It does get upgraded depending on, you know, our schools. We have changed a couple schools. I can't remember when Diamond actually first came about, but I know different traffic patterns, everything. It does change a little bit.
Right. And so do you guys have any anticipations for school year? Any safety concerns that you're looking at specifically that might be higher this year than previous years?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, not that you're aware of. Okay. So then I guess, do you have any message to our viewers that are listening right now, something that they can remember as they're heading back into this time?
Situational awareness while you're driving. Make sure that you're scanning the roadway, a few seconds down the road. That way you can prepare yourself to stop if you need to.
Yes, sir. That's great. And so, yeah, as we get into this year, we just want to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. That is the most important thing. And if we're reaching out for safety, it's still 911, right? Is that the best way to get in contact with you guys?
That's the immediate contact number.
Yeah, so just don't forget that. We want to make sure that we're keeping our kids as safe as possible as we get into the school year.
Right.
Yes, sir. So I want to thank you for taking your time to come talk with us today, and I hope you guys have a good school year.
Yes, sir.
The Digital Garrison app is your one-stop source for all things Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. With the DG at your fingertips, you'll never miss out on upcoming events, installation updates, facility and gate information, weather, shopping, and so much more. Digital Garrison is free from your phone's app store. Download today.